Prince Harry will not make Meghan Markle a billionaire. She wants to be a billionaire. So who will? A new man. At some point, if it's offered up, it might happen. That is why she is constantly meeting new billionaires.
Now imagine waking up, grabbing your phone, and realizing the royal family saga just flipped into something that feels ripped straight from a binge-worthy drama series. Only this time, the writers aren't Hollywood producers. They're Tom Bower, one of Britain's most relentless royal biographers, and Paul Burrell, the former butler to Princess Diana, who claims he knows how the palace really moves behind closed doors.
And this is from a woman who attacks her father mercilessly in the series.
Now, when those two line up on the same side about Meghan Markle, that's not random chatter. That's when people stop mid-scroll and say, wait, what's going on? Because when Bower talks, it's rarely soft. And when Burrell speaks, it's rarely small. At 78, Bower isn't slowing down or sugarcoating anything. He's dropping confirmations and raising suspicions that feel less like palace gossip and more like the twist everyone whispered about but never thought would actually unfold. And Burrell? He's backing it up with claims so bold they sound like they belong in a high-stakes political thriller instead of a royal headline.
And she will just go off, and her next step is a billionaire.
But here's where it gets interesting. This isn't about tiaras, balcony waves, or who bowed to who. This is about ambition, influence, and the possibility of stepping beyond celebrity circles into serious power lanes. The talk isn't about palace windows. It's about California networks, wealthy donors, and conversations that stretch way past red carpets. And right in the middle of it all stands Prince Harry, watching the spotlight shift in a way nobody predicted. A royal love story brushing shoulders with American power politics? That's not small. That's a crossover nobody saw coming. So when two insiders who understand the royal system from the inside suddenly point in the same direction, people notice. Palace veterans don't align casually, and now the questions are getting louder. What exactly are they seeing that made them speak up at the same time? Picture it clearly. On one side, you've got Tom Bower, a man known for digging where others tiptoe, and he's making it clear. Meghan isn't just quietly living her California life, not even close. According to Tom Bower, she's not just sitting back in California enjoying sunshine and brand checks. He suggests she's quietly mapping out something long-term, something calculated, way bigger than podcast contracts or lifestyle deals. Not loud, not flashy, strategic.
And I don't think he heard Meghan's voice. I think he heard his mother's voice. Because she's got millions, so why not step up to a billionaire? And why not go for politics? Why not become governor? I truly believe that when he met Meghan, she whispered into his ear, a 36-year-old mature woman whispered into his ear, Harry, you and I could change the world. If the titles Duke and Duchess were taken away from Meghan and Harry, Meghan would become Princess Meghan.
Right.
What's the worst of the two evils?
Then here comes Paul Burrell, stepping in with his own angle. A man who once stood just feet away from royal secrets now claims Meghan's ambition doesn't end in Hollywood, and it definitely doesn't stop in Montecito. He's hinting at billionaire circles and possibly even politics. Yes, politics. Pause for a second. Two insiders, two totally different backgrounds, same direction. That's not everyday coincidence. So what are they seeing that most people haven't connected yet? If there really is a bigger plan unfolding behind the scenes, what does that mean for Prince Harry? He walked away from royal duty, from his country, from the structure he knew his whole life. Is he part of this next chapter? Or just watching it happen from the sidelines? Those are the uncomfortable questions both men are putting on the table. And whether people agree or not, it shifts how you look at this entire story. When Bower speaks, people listen because he doesn't soften his words. This time, he used a phrase that made headlines instantly. He called Meghan Markle an agent of poison. Strong words, explosive even. But what's behind that label? Bower describes someone who doesn't rush into noise. Instead, he paints her as patient, watching, waiting, moving when timing works in her favor. According to him, silence isn't weakness, it's leverage. It's like holding your cards so tight that nobody sees the play until it's already done. By the time others react, the board has shifted, and here's where it gets bigger.
Meghan Markle's failed plan to bag a billionaire as her marriage to Prince Harry becomes more unhappy by the day. Meghan Markle plans to leave Prince Harry to become a billionaire and run for the governor of California.
He doesn't think her next step is about movie deals or royal interviews. He hints at a whole different arena: politics, not red carpets, policy rooms, not tabloids, strategy meetings. Think about it. She's confident. She speaks clearly. She commands attention, whether people support her or criticize her. That kind of presence works far beyond entertainment circles. So is the quiet phase just preparation? Is the calm before something much louder? Bauer doesn't spell out every detail. He leaves gaps, but the implication feels deliberate. If there is a move coming, it won't be small. It won't be subtle, and it definitely won't be random. If that leap ever happens, the headlines we've seen so far might look tiny compared to what follows, and whether people cheer or roll their eyes, one thing is clear: if Meghan steps onto a bigger stage, nobody will be able to ignore it. And if that next move really is political, how would people react? Would they welcome her as a bold, modern voice? Or would past headlines resurface and dominate the conversation again? That's the tension sitting underneath Tom Bauer's dramatic claims. The uncertainty of how the public would truly respond. If Bauer's comments hit like thunder, Paul Burrell sounds more like a slow-ticking clock. He isn't focused on strategy or campaign whispers. He's pointing straight at the core of the marriage between Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. And according to him, there's pressure building right down the middle. Burrell argues that cultural differences aren't just cute contrasts. In his view,
Harry, being a simple soul, has easily changed to suit Meghan's agenda. And that ridiculous story about how they first met, the whole thing was a tissue of inaccuracies, to be polite. We're being brainwashed by these Hollywood people who think this is the way to make money and, in the end, destroy our monarchy to make their fortune.
there's serious gaps in lifestyle and mindset. Picture Harry, raised inside strict royal tradition, trained in ceremony, duty, and military structure, suddenly living in the fast-moving world of California influence. A prince shaped by protocol, now surrounded by branding meetings, social media buzz, and high-powered networking events. Then look at Meghan. She understands cameras, she knows positioning, she's comfortable in Hollywood circles and tech-driven conversations. Burrell suggests she moves smoothly in that environment, while Harry may still be adjusting to it. That shift alone could create pressure. Imagine one partner charging ahead with clear ambition while the other is still figuring out his next chapter. That kind of imbalance doesn't scream chaos, but it does raise questions. Where does he see himself in this new world? What does his purpose look like outside the structure he once knew? Burrell goes even further. He claims Meghan is thinking on a larger scale, connecting with major investors, global philanthropists, and high-level power players, not casual mingling, strategic networking. He bluntly suggests Harry alone won't be the key to reaching billionaire-level influence. Now that's a sharp statement. When one partner's goals expand into massive territory and the other is still redefining his role, tension can naturally grow. Do they strengthen as a team? Or does that difference in direction create emotional distance?
Meghan Markle knew that, and she manipulated him because of that. Then, when she got everything that she wanted,
Burrell warns that if those cracks ever widened, it wouldn't just affect them privately. It could impact the public image they've worked hard to build for years. And here's where the speculation escalates. He insists Meghan isn't just attending elite gatherings for appearance. In his view, she's carefully placing herself around ultra-wealthy circles, individuals whose access and influence stretch far beyond celebrity status. That's not small talk. That's long-game positioning. Picture the dinner parties in Montecito. Polished glasses clinking, quiet handshakes, subtle nods that look casual, but mean serious business behind closed doors. According to Paul Burrell, this isn't random socializing. He suggests Meghan isn't just networking, she's building a ladder, one powerful connection at a time. Every introduction, every panel appearance, every private invite could be another step toward long-term influence, and this is where Tom Bower lines up with that narrative. He argues these public appearances aren't accidental. In his view, they look deliberate, structured, carefully timed, showing up at think tanks, charity forums, media summits. That doesn't scream lifestyle branding alone. It suggests groundwork for something bigger. Then comes Burrell's boldest question yet. Is Meghan looking for alliances that stretch beyond celebrity? Strategic partnerships that bring funding, access, and elite-level backing? Not romance talk, power talk. And if that's the case, where does that leave Prince Harry? He stepped away from royal duty to build a new life. But Silicon Valley billionaires and Hollywood power brokers operate on a different financial level entirely. This conversation isn't just about money. It's about proximity to influence. It's about credibility in circles that shape campaigns, legislation, and global narratives. The more you break it down, the more the storyline shifts, from Duchess to dealmaker, from royal headlines to boardroom strategy. And if that long game is real, what's the final destination? Here's where it turns cinematic. Burrell openly speculates that Meghan Markle could one day aim for governor of California. At first it sounds dramatic, tabloid-level bold. But then history taps you on the shoulder. Ronald Reagan went from actor to governor to president. Arnold Schwarzenegger moved from blockbuster films straight into Sacramento's highest office.
Harry just can't give her anything else anymore. He served his purpose. His purpose is over.
California has seen celebrity power flip into political authority before, so the question becomes louder. Why not Meghan? She already has global name recognition. She understands cameras. She knows messaging. Love her or criticize her, she holds attention. And in politics, attention is currency. Burrell even claims there have been quiet discussions of her name circulating in Democratic donor circles, not as a current candidate, but as a future possibility. A long-term reinvention strategy once the royal noise fades down. That's not an announcement. It's positioning. Imagine a decade from now. No tiara, no royal balcony. Just a sharp suit, a podium, and a statewide campaign speech broadcast across every major network. The same presence that once captivated millions at a royal wedding now directed toward policy and public office. And then the real question hits. What role would Harry play in that scenario? Supportive partner, behind-the-scenes advisor, or someone gradually stepping out of the spotlight? It makes you look back at everything differently. The interviews, the streaming deals, the carefully chosen public appearances. Were they just media projects? Or stepping stones toward something much larger? That's the theory Burrell and Bower are circling. Not fairy tales, not palace drama. Strategy. If Meghan truly sees herself one day stepping into the governor's mansion, suddenly every appearance, every speech, every carefully timed project starts to look different. It reframes the whole journey, but it also sets up a serious collision. Can someone carry years of royal controversy into American politics and still win over voters? Or would old headlines resurface the moment a campaign begins? Paul Burrell insists the possibility isn't fantasy. He says it's real enough to consider, and just that idea alone makes California politics feel like a royal drama, reborn on American soil. If her ambitions sound bold, both Burrell and Tom Bower circle back to one emotional twist.
We know now in hindsight that Meghan never really intended to stay. Her guest list to her wedding showed her real ambition was to be a star in California. That she arrived in London, full career, single girl, wasn't interested. Of course, she'd been coming to London since 2013, hunting for a man to marry. She wanted an Englishman. She was on a man.
Prince Harry may no longer be at the center of the narrative. Think about his path. He left the only structure he had ever known: palace life, military roles, generations of tradition. He crossed an ocean to build something new. For years, he stood beside Meghan Markle, defending her publicly, reshaping his identity, backing every move. But according to Bauer, reality might be shifting. The suggestion is that Harry may not be central to Meghan's long-term blueprint. Burrell paints it even sharper. He describes Harry as existing in a kind of pause, living in Montecito comfort, yet still asking himself, where do I fit now? While Meghan attends panels, builds brands, and connects with high-level figures, Harry appears caught between worlds, not fully royal anymore, not fully defined in the new American chapter either. That contrast hits hard. Burrell even highlights a subtle detail. Harry reportedly calls their California estate home. Meghan reportedly refers to it as HQ. That difference in language speaks volumes. For him, it signals family and stability. For her, it suggests operation and expansion. If she's positioning herself at the center of American influence, where does that leave him? As a loyal partner standing behind the curtain? As a quiet advisor? Or as someone who might one day feel he traded one spotlight only to stand outside another? It's not a dramatic prediction. It's a question about direction. And that's what keeps people watching.
As Meghan rises in Netflix into whatever she will do, I think it won't be enough for Meghan. Harry came from this very busy world of the royal family with lots to do. Even in his spare time, he could play polo and do whatever he wanted. He sat in Montecito, twiddling his thumbs, thinking, what do I do next? What is my role? Where is my work? I think that William should leave well alone. It's done. They shouldn't be able to use it for commercial gain, as the Queen wished, but leave well alone. There's a fault line down the middle of it, and I feel that will crack one day.
Behind glossy magazine spreads and curated photos, both Bauer and Burrell point to another layer: the financial reality. The dream of unlimited streaming wealth didn't unfold exactly as many expected. The Spotify partnership ended early. Netflix hasn't delivered a constant wave of blockbuster hits. That doesn't mean failure, but it does mean expectations met reality. Walking away from royal financial support means building everything independently, and independence comes with responsibility. California estates, security, staff, those costs are real. Burrell suggests this financial structure might also explain why separation rumors remain speculation rather than reality. A split could complicate business structures, branding power, and long-term positioning. Instead, he frames their partnership as deeply strategic, two people aligned on influence and independence. And here's where it gets undeniable. Meghan recently launched her lifestyle brand, and products sold out within minutes. Whether critics applaud or roll their eyes, the demand was instant. That kind of response sends a clear message. Attention still follows her. Love her or question her, she generates curiosity. And in business, curiosity converts into revenue. Companies see that. Investors notice that. The market responds. So the bigger picture becomes layered. Political speculation, marriage dynamics, financial pressure, brand momentum. It's not just a royal fairy tale anymore. It's strategy, reputation, money, and power all tangled together. And whether this story ends in public office, continued media influence, or something nobody expects, one thing is certain. People are still watching every move. But can merchandise drops and streaming deals alone sustain a lifestyle this massive? That's the million-dollar, maybe billion-dollar question.
She will find a way to bounce past him to some other taker. She will take her royal kids, who can still go by prince and princess, and find the billion.
Are we watching the rise of a lasting empire, or just another wave of short-term wins dressed up as long-term success? For Prince Harry, a man who once wore military medals as symbols of service, shifting into branding meetings and marketing strategy has to feel like a completely different battlefield. Uniform to business casual, ceremony to sponsorships. And yet, that financial drive might be the very thing keeping everything aligned, even while other tensions quietly build. Now here's where Tom Bauer and Paul Burrell deliver their most cutting assessment. They argue this isn't just friction, it's bigger than arguments or lifestyle adjustments. Bauer goes as far as saying, Harry and Meghan have done more in the last 5 years to damage the royal family than anyone has in hundreds of years. That's not a light statement, that's a headline maker. According to his view, the Sussexes didn't just disagree with the institution. They challenged it publicly, repeatedly, interviews, documentaries, memoirs. From Bauer's perspective, that's not reform, that's confrontation. Then Burrell adds his sharpest angle. He suggests Harry may not have been the final goal in Meghan's long game. In his words, Harry was a stepping stone, a path, not the destination, a connection that opened doors in America, gave instant recognition, and unlocked influence. That's his claim. He argues that once positioned in elite American circles, the focus shifted to bigger ambitions. And if, and that's a big if, Meghan were ever to step into political leadership, what would Harry's public role become? Supportive spouse? Background presence? The narrative Burrell paints is harsh. He suggests Harry could risk becoming secondary in a story that once revolved around him. That's a brutal picture. Framed this way, their romance stops looking like a simple fairy tale and starts resembling strategy, a chessboard, not a love story, moves calculated, risks taken, outcomes planned. But here's the human question. What about the wedding vows, the public declarations, the moments that felt genuine? Were those chapters part of the strategy too? Or were they real emotions mixed into an ambitious journey? Bauer and Burrell clearly lean toward ambition as the driving force. They describe Meghan as someone who doesn't just want partnership, she wants position, influence, authority, a seat at the highest table. If her next act involves billionaire alliances or a serious political bid, the spotlight shifts again. And once it shifts, what happens to Harry? Does he remain fully aligned, backing every step, or does he begin questioning his own path? The ending isn't written yet. Every new report, every fresh rumor raises the stakes. And now another dramatic thread is reportedly emerging. Talk of legal tensions after a well-known royal commentator made explosive remarks involving Harry's family. The details are still unfolding, but the pressure is rising. One thing is clear, this story isn't fading, it's evolving. If you want to stay ahead of every twist, every claim, and every behind-the-scenes development, make sure you hit subscribe, like this video, drop your thoughts in the comments, and share it with someone who's been following this saga from day one. And don't miss our next deep dive, because the next chapter might be the most surprising one yet.